Okay, quick, large tumbler for lead shot. I'm sure we all have some of these lying about over Christmas. They're very conveniently marked with a center spot. So we're just going to go ahead and drill a couple of holes through this to allow our axle through. Threaded bar or long bolt. Need one more size. So we need to secure this. Starting at this side. Yeah, that's the good side. Okay. So we're going to make life easier. We'll have to pinch this. So we're going to put just an ordinary nut on first. Then this. We want to leave some excess out the back. Then we'll start with this nut. So that's tight enough for now. I'm going to take our drill. I'm going to slow it down. We're going to put our cover on. And we now have a tumbling container. The reason for this is because if we put too many balls in this, it's far too much weight for the drill and it's going to hop about all over the place. So we need somewhere to put this end so that it will take some of the weight and allow this to tumble without knocking the drill over. But just before we get there, we're going to pull this up. So this just isn't 100% tight, but we're going to need something inside to break up the rotation to help flick the balls, much like a cement mixer, to try and mix things up a bit inside to make sure that the balls get a good tumble. So I'm going to pop this off for a second. This lock nut has been on and off so many times for different things that you can now turn it by hand, but okay, so we need something on the inside. I have found a couple of pieces of aluminium. I have folded them roughly 45 degrees, and I'm basically going to put these in along the base and drill a couple of holes and bolt them on, and these is going to act like the paddles inside to collect the balls, and it won't drop them until they get up quite high up, and that's going to help with the rounding. So we're going to go ahead and mark the holes for these. Can't do it on the outside because it's a bit, this ridge kind of throws us off. We want to keep these as high up as we can, so we're just going to mark them on the inside approximately. So just take our pen and we'll mark the holes. Now because I have two of these, we're going to put the other one directly opposite. So I'll mark the holes this side, and I'm just going to take a little pointer just to start the hole, and that's just going to make it easier for the drill to go through now that we have a little centre hole. It's nice soft plastic, so it's easy to do this with. Find what we want, press and twist up here on the rim. It's a bad place, but it's still going to work. So now that we've done that, if I find the bits that I'm hiding, I'm going to put our step bit in, and we're going to go to the little marked holes that we have, and it's much easier to drill from the outside in rather than from the inside out. So once we find our centre, we're just going to pop a couple of holes. Turn it around, same again. So there we go. So if we set this down and we take a couple of nuts and bolts, we can put these in. So it doesn't really matter what side you go from. You can bolt from the outside in, the inside out. It doesn't really matter. It's just I like keeping the outside of it cleaner, so that it doesn't catch anything while it's rotating. So one bolt on there, another bolt in there, and a nut on. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side and tighten these up. Okay, so we've got these tightened up, so now it's time to reinstall this. So again, you just put it through, try and get the nut started. There's a bad thread in that, but we've got it started. So we need to fully tighten this one once we get the nut down. Roughly to where we want it. We just want enough sticking out that we can catch it in the chuck of the drill. So 2 spanners this time. So pop that one on there, and we'll pop the other on the inside, and magically with one hand. I think maybe we got it just enough, just tight enough. We'll do this again. Put that one on. That should just be tight enough. So yeah, there we have it. Lead. Pops on over the top. It should still clip on. Nice and secure. So, the test. Have some lead shot here. Hopefully, if you can see, there's the nasty cut edges that we're all familiar with whenever you're making your own lead. These ones aren't too bad, but they still need around it. So we're going to go ahead, pop them in, and we're going to collect a few others that we have cut. Still rough, jiggy edges. I'm not sure how many I have, not very many. This container, I have had a couple of 100 balls at a time in this container. That's 8mm. I'd say if you were going to 9s, you'd probably 150. Depending on what sort of drill you have and what sort of setup and how much power it's going to run. So there we go. There's a few in there now. So I'm going to go and pop this over where I have an anchor point to put this. Thankfully for me, my drill, whenever you hold it, put it flat on the floor, this is square. So to line this up, because we're using the same drill, this point here will be exact center point on the other side. So it's very easy to mark something, just to slot this into, just to bear some weight. So I'm going to go and show you where I put my... So this is the setup. Sorry, it's a bit dark in here, but old toolbox. As you can see, we have a hole here. That was just drilled by putting a drill bit in the drill, sliding it along the floor, marking where the center was, and that now means that this should slide in here. So we now have somewhere to set it. We're going to take just a little screwdriver. We have a cable tie, zip tie, around the trigger loosely. So we're just going to wiggle in this screwdriver and tighten this up until we get the desired speed that we need. A bit fiddly doing it with one hand, but alright, so we've been going for approximately 45 minutes, maybe slightly longer. I went and had a cup of tea, got a bite to eat, and just let it run on a while. So I'm going to take it back over now to my bench and we'll open it up and have a look inside and see what's what. So maybe just keep this rolling until we get transferred over to here and I get my phone back in the stand. Okay, we've got the phone's back in the stand. Frees up my hands to undo everything that needs undone. So before I get too carried away, I did set aside a couple that, if I can get a light, it might show you better some of the nasty cuts that's on the balls. So we'll get rid of 3 of them, we'll keep one rough one, and then we're going to dip in here and bring out one of these. So let's put the 2 beside each other. Slight colour difference, but as you can see, this one has the sharp bit and this one has no sharp bits. Can't even find where the cut was on it. I think that's the cut there, but it's been pounded in. So lovely round shot, simple fix. Container, something that you probably have lying around, threaded bar or a long bolt. You might need to cut the head off the bolt, but would do the same job as long as it's long enough to go through your container and give you a little bit on either side. That'll be perfect. So guys, I hope that was useful, and I hope some of you can make yourself something similar and round off those shot a wee bit, which makes them a little bit more pleasant to look at and to handle, and hopefully help keep your shots going a little bit straighter. So there we go guys, thanks for watching, talk to you soon.